Nikate Advaita Shini Pasa Chatradhara Osi Akche Gaurachan Nasimhasane Ate Gurachan Nasimhasane Arati Korindama Haridevakante Arati Korindama Haridevakante Arati Korindama Haridevakante Nara Hari Kori Amararudaya Nara Hari Kori Amararudaya Anjaya Mukunda Basu Sharikaya Anjaya Mukunda Basu Sharikaya Shankar Bhaje Kanta Bhaje Bhaje Karatala Shankar Bhaje Kanta Bhaje Bhaje Karatala Madhura Vrindanga Bhaje Paramarasala Madhura Vrindanga Bhaje Paramarasala Bhakti Chandra Arana Ujjvala Bhakti Chandra Arana Ujjvala Allah Dishe Vannamala Pure Jalamala Allah Dishe Vannamala Pure Jalamala Shiva Shukanara Prime Eva Sukanara Megaratara Akati Venora Deke Purana Sampara Akati Venora Deke Purana Sampara Nama Vishnu Pradaya, Krishna Krishnaya, Bhutali, Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami, Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve, Gauravani Pracharine, Devi Kesha Shunyavadi, Vashyatari Shatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Yatita Radha Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Pravirajacharya Ashtatar Shata Shri Shri Mahadesi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Pravirajacharya Ashtatar Shata Shri Shri Mahad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananti Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Sago Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Mathura Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Tulasi Devi Ki Jai. Yamuna Maya Ki Jai. Ganga Maya Ki Jai. Samadvaita Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru Angaranga. Oh, yeah.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Pralada Lahada Dayine. Hiranyakashi Bakshaha. Pilatanta Nakalaye. Ito Nrsingha Parato Nrsingha. Yato Yato Yami Tato Nrsingha. Bahir Nrsingho Hridaye Nrsingho. Narasing Hamading Saranam Prapadye. Avatara Kamala Bare Nakam Madhuta Sringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubrigam Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare. Avakara Kamala Vare Nakam Adbhuta Sringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubrigam Kesavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jaya Nursing Hadev, Jaya Nursing Hadev, Jaya Nursing Hadev, Jaya Nursing Hadev. Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Bring Bhagavan ki Jai.
Did you get the shot yet? I left that go box down there for you. Yeah. Well, we were discussing about amputating his leg because of his knee. I said, well, Buck Matthews here tonight. I got a rusty knife, and we got a hot burner to cauterize it afterwards. But you're a doctor. It's got to work.
You didn't miss a step.
That's too much. Yeah.
When do you get fired?
I don't know. Mogadari is still making up the schedule.
Oh.
But Yamamon's supposed to get tomorrow night, so we got a problem.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's not here.
Yeah, I know.
I guess so. Oh. And Maharaj wants, everyone to get a chance to get class.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Let's see here. Where did we get to yesterday? Constance, chapter 2, how far into it? The first 4? Okay, which... Hare Krishna. That's pretty much Donovan and Ganavan that left for the Sadhu Sangha out in New Orleans. They're getting to have all the fun without us. Alrighty, Bhagavad Gita class. Start with introduction prayer on page 1. Om Aganya Tramadasya Gyana Jnana Sarakya Chakshumita Mina Tasme Skreva Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mono Vishtam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kara Madhyam Dadati Swapatitikam. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who is established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet? Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Pada Kamalam Shri Guran Vaishnavascha Shri Rupa Sagrajatam Sahagana Raguna Natvitam Tasa Javam Sadvetam Sadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishkas Kanuvintamscha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master, and unto the feet of all Vaishnavas. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami, along with its elder brother Sanata Goswami, as well as Raghunath Das and Raghunath Bhatta, Gopala Bhatta, and Srila Jiva Goswami. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, along with Avetya and Acharya, Gadhar, Srivasa, and other associates. I offer my respectful obeisances to Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna, along with their associates, Sri Lalita and Vishaka. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dino Bando Jakpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Nanamusute. Oh, my dear Krishna, you're the friend of the distress and the source of creation. You're the master of the gopis and lover of Radharani. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Tapa kanchana garangi rade, visbana spasvare, visbanu sute deve, pranamame hare pariye. I offer my respects to Radharani, whose bodily complexion is like molten gold, and who is the queen of Vrindavan. You are the daughter of King Vishbanu, and you are very dear to the Lord. Pancha kapada paryascha, kripa sindhu bhaya evascha, patitanam padvaibhayo, vaishnavayo, namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who can fill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Veta Gadhar, Sri Vasti Gaur Bhaktivinda. I offer my obeisances to Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Veta Gadhar, Sri Vasa, and all others in the line of devotion. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we were in chapter 2, contents of the Gita summarized. Do you remember where we left off at, Prabhu? So we're starting on verse 3 today. Klebayama smagama prata naita taya upapadyate kushtam hidaya tarapalyam tayakvatishta paratapa. Well, that's a difficult one. Whew. Translation. Oh, son of Prita, do not yield to this degrading impotence. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of heart and arise, O chastiser of the enemy. Arjuna vacha katam bhishmam aham sankhye jonam cha marusha sadana ishubi prateyotishanyame pujadva aryashudana. Translation. Arjuna said, O killer of Madhu, Krishna, how can I counterattack with arrows and battle men like Bhishma and Drona who are worthy of my worship? Text 5. Gruna Attava hi manu bhavana mahanubhavan bhavan shreyo bhuktum bhaksham apiyaloke hatvata kamastu guna aivaha Brujiya Brogam Brudir Bradik Dahan. Translation. It is better to live in this world by begging than to live in the coast of better to live in the It is better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of the lives of the great souls who are my teachers, even though they are I'm having problems with my speech tonight. Avaricious. They are nonetheless superiors. If they are skilled, our spoils will be tainted with blood. Text 6. Na chaita vidma katara no guryo yadva jayema yarivana jayeyo yareva hatvana chijivit samhas devashita pramukhe daratastra. Translation. Nor do we know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them. The sons of Dharashtra, whom if we killed, we should not care to live, are now standing before us on this battlefield. Text 7. Karpanya doshapata sapava prichami tvam dharma samuda cheta Yatshreya Siyan Nishchitam Bruhitame Shishyasteham Sadimam Tvam Papanam. Translation: Now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of weakness. In this condition, I'm asking you to tell me clearly what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. Text 8. Nahi parapashyami mama panu dayad yachokam huchasanam indrayanam avyapya bhumav aspatnam ridam rajyam suranam epi chadipatyam. Translation: I can find no means to drive away this grief, which is drying up my senses. I will not be able to destroy it, even if I win an unrivaled kingdom on the earth, with sovereignty like the demigods in heaven. Text 9. Sanjaya vacha ivamupa hirikesham gurakesha paratapa nayochya iti govindam Yukta Tushnam Babhuvavha. Translation: Sanjaya said, having spoken thus, Arjuna, chastiser of enemy, told Krishna, Govinda, I shall not fight, and fell silent. Text 10. Tamuvacha hikesha prayashan iva bharata Shanaya ubaya marie Vishidantam idam vacha. O dear son of Bharata, at the time Krishna, smiling in the midst of both armies, spoke the following words of the grief-stricken Arjuna. Text 11. Shri Bhagavanu vacha oshachayan asvashotam pragya varam cha pashase karasun agatasum cha anunushdatante parita. Translation: The blessed Lord said, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are alive lament neither for the living nor the dead. Text 12. Natva evaham jatu nasham natvam neme janad hipa nachaiva nabhavashyamam sarve vayam atma paramam. Translation: Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. Text 13. Dinosmin yata dehe kamaram yavanam jara tata dehantara patir dirastatra namuyate. As the embodied soul continually passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. The self-realized soul is not bewildered by such change. Our final text this evening, text 14. Matra sprasha tu kanteya chitoshna sukha dukkada agamam payonino nitya stam tiki sarvasparta. Translation: O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like appearances and disappearances of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O scion of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. Turning to text 3. Translation: O son of Pritha, do not yield to this degrading impotence. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of heart and arise, O chastiser of the enemy. Report by His divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Arjuna was just the son of Pritha, who happened to be the sister of Krishna's father, Vasudeva. Therefore, Arjuna had a blood relationship with Krishna. If the son of a Kshatriya declines to fight, he is a Kshatriya in name only. If the son of a Brahmana acts impiously, he is a Brahmana in name only. Such Kshatriyas and Brahmanas are unworthy sons of their fathers. Therefore, Krishna did not want Arjuna to become an unworthy son of a Kshatriya. Arjuna was the most intimate friend of Krishna, and Krishna was directly guiding him on the chariot. But in spite of all those credits, if Arjuna abandoned the battle, he would be committing an infamous act. Therefore, Krishna said that such an attitude on Arjuna did not fit his personality. Arjuna might argue that he would give up the battle on the grounds of his magnanimous attitude for the most respectable Bhishma and his relatives. But Krishna considered that sort of magnanimity not approved by authority. Therefore, such magnanimity or so-called nonviolence should be given up by persons like Arjuna under the direct guidance of Krishna. Text 4. Arjuna said, O killer of Madhu, Krishna, how can I counterattack with arrows in battle men like Bhishma and Drona who are worthy of my worship? Report. Respectable superiors like Bhishma, the grandfather of Dronacharya, the teacher, are always worshipful. Even if they attack, they should not be counterattacked. It is a general etiquette that superiors are not to be offered even a verbal fight. Even if they are sometimes harsh in behavior, they should not be harshly treated. Then how is it possible for Arjuna to counterattack them? Would Krishna ever attack his own grandfather, Ugrasena, or his teacher, Sadipani Puni? These were some of the arguments by Arjuna to Krishna. Text 5. It's better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of the lives of great souls who are my teachers. Even though they are virtuous, they are nonetheless superiors. If they are killed, our spoils would be tainted with blood. Report. According to scriptural codes, a teacher who engages in abominable action has lost his sense of discrimination and is fit to be abandoned. Bhishma and Drona were obliged to take the side of Duryodhana because of his financial assistance. Although they should have accepted such a position simply on financial considerations. Although they should not have accepted such a position simply on financial considerations. Under the circumstances, they have lost the respectability of teachers. Arjuna thinks that nevertheless they remain his superiors, and therefore to enjoy material profits after killing them would mean to enjoy his spoils of it tainted with blood. Yeah, that's kind of a bad decision on their part. They chose the opposite side, which Krishna was on. You know, think about that. They chose material wealth rather than fighting on the side of Krishna as teachers. So I mean that whole reasoning there is bad to begin with, because whoever's side Krishna is on are going to be victorious no matter what. Yes, Prabhu.
This had like we see. Usually, I see Christians, or not Christians, but like I usually see people who are doubtful of Christian consciousness, whether they be atheists, Christians, Muslim, and some may say that, okay, so you have Krishna, right? And I have, and let's say I'm really wealthy. So like someone could think that like because they have a lot of wealth, then that their philosophy is correct. And because we don't have wealth or many material things, they might think that our philosophy is incorrect. So I was just wondering, what should we say? What should we think in that situation?
Well, I mean, you have to get really back down to the basics. A person who thinks that just because they're wealthy, own philosophy is correct. Well, I mean, the Nazis were wealthy. Was their philosophy correct? There's a lot of wealthy people out there. You got to look at the situation. Does wealth really determine a person's philosophy is correct or not? I don't think it does. Because ultimately, when you look at money and wealth, and what does it do for you? I mean, here we live in the U.S. This is like sense gratification on demand. I mean, we have the freedom to go out there and work as hard as we want to, and indulge in our senses as much as we want to. And what is the result of that? I actually was looking up some statistics earlier today, just kind of give me a basic idea. So you figure, wealth and having all these things was the correct path. We should be in a good place. Let me look up some statistics here. Where'd that go? Okay. So here in the U.S., recent CDC data shows that about 11 to 13% of the U.S. adults are taking prescription antidepressants. That roughly works in about 1 in 9 Americans. We're living in the land of sense gratification. So we're already at 1 in 9 adults taking antidepressants. 2025 CDC report found that 11.4% of adults took prescription medication for depression in 2023. Earlier, the CDC data from 2015 to 2018 showed 13.2% of adults used antidepressants within the previous 30 days. The most commonly used, let's see here, illicit drugs. According to the latest U.S. government data from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, about 25.5% of Americans aged 12 and older report using illicit drug in the past year. This equals approximately to 73.6 million people in the United States. Why are people using drugs if wealth is so good? If the pathway to wealth is so easy? We're one of the wealthiest countries in the world. We're not a third world country. Like I said, we have sense gratification on demand. But here we're seeing this breakdown that so many people are on antidepressants, and those who aren't on antidepressants are using illicit drugs. Over 64.2 million users estimated here in the U.S. And let's see here. And about 53 to 62% of U.S. adults currently drink alcohol. Why do you need alcohol? Isn't wealth enough? Isn't, having everything at your fingertips, enough? Having, food in your stomach and roof over your head? Entertainment in front of it? Yeah, I mean, we got TV, we got the internet these days where it's like, sense gratification on demand, clickbait, click, go. Swipe, and you unlimited entertainment, unlimited sense gratification. But still, 53 to 62% of U.S. adults are currently drinking. It's roughly about 135 to 180 million Americans dependent on current drinking, on drinking. Around 17 to 20% of adults engage in binge drinking. Wow, that's quite a number. Suicide is now the 10th leading cause of death in the U.S. 10th leading cause, suicide. We are a nation of sense gratification. We're a nation of wealth. Sense gratification on demand. So when you actually look at these people who think that because they are wealthy, they got the right philosophy, you got to ask them, if you got the right philosophy, then why are so many people miserable? Why have so many personalities like that's been in the music industry and as actors and the top of their field had to resort to drugs and alcohol to find happiness? I mean, you look at some of these great personalities out there. Let's take Elvis Presley, for instance. My gosh, king of rock and roll. He had everything. But it wasn't enough. He resorted to drugs. Drugs ended up taking his life. So apparently it's not with the wealth. Let's take another example. Michael Jackson, king of pop. Oh my gosh. He had to have security, in his Neverland compound, out, just to take a daily walk outside because people would parachute in. Isn't that crazy? He was so famous, people would fly over and try to parachute in just to meet him. But he lived in all kinds of miseries. Had so many plastic surgeries, had so many, addicted to so many prescription drugs. Ended up having to take a prescribed drug to fall asleep at night, which took his own life. But he was at the top of the world. Everybody knew who Michael Jackson was. All over the world. He was so famous. But he was living in misery. Another example, Robin Williams. Robin Williams, top of his field, comedian, actor, brought joy to millions of people. Made so many people laugh. But if you look at his life, he had a drug and alcohol problem too. Oni Tai Ki Jai. And in the end, he ended up taking his own life. He has name, wealth, fame, prestige, all these things. So for those who say that because I am wealthy, I have the correct philosophy, I got to ask them, if you got the correct philosophy because you're wealthy, why are so many wealthy people having to resort to drugs and alcohol if they have it all? Why so many actors and musicians who are at the top of their field have to resort to these things? Does that make sense to you? Yeah. That's why we have Krishna consciousness, because we're trying to give up these material attachments. Because Krishna is the ultimate enjoyer. We're parts and parcels of the Supreme Being. He is the ultimate enjoyer. And when we try to enjoy separately from him, something begins to happen. We find out trying to enjoy separately from him, this enjoyment doesn't last. It becomes very temporary. It's about the time that you think that you're enjoying something, poof, it's gone. It's a fleeting moment in time. It doesn't stay with you. It doesn't last. It's empty. It's empty without being a part of Krishna. It's empty without being the part and parcel, putting Krishna first to enjoy. Because when you're a part and parcel and serving Krishna and serving for his enjoyment, then you get to partake with the enjoyer. But if you're trying to serve yourself separately from Krishna, you're not able to partake in this lifelong, in this infinite enjoyment. Because all of a sudden it becomes temporary because you're trying to do it separately from him. In so many ways, this is why we have so much suffering in today's world. Because people are out there trying to chase after their sense gratification, trying to find their happiness. We have this media out there that tries to sell us, from Disney to all these movies about what brings happiness. Some of these movies they have out there. Find that perfect person. They try to sell you there's someone specifically meant for you in this life to make you happy. They try to sell that in movies. They try to sell you that. Try to convince you of that. There's one person out there that's going to make you happy. You find this person and everything is going to be happily ever after. But here we are living in a time where, divorces, marriages are about 50% of marriages end up in divorce. So many people are finding their happily ever after, not very happy after all. I was talking about a previous class, those who are getting into marriage thinking that this is going to bring them happiness, they've already lost. Because marriage is not about bringing happiness. Marriage is about duty. It's about bringing in a family. There's a lot of sacrifice. There's a lot of suffering when you become married. It's not about ultimate happiness. And those who think that you get married to be happy, that's why divorce happens. Because majority of marriages are people divorcing because they're unhappy. They married in the beginning for all the wrong reasons. But then the Bhagavad Gita is giving us a pathway, this knowledge, this way to escape this material addiction. Because that's what it is. We're addicted to this material world. Our material senses are so conditioned to this. I mean, we've had millions upon millions of lifetimes where we've been chasing after this over and over and over and over again. And it's only those that have, come to realize, like, man, I am tired of chasing after happiness. I'm tired of chasing this enjoyment that doesn't last. I'm tired of this. Those are the ones that are actually coming to the platform of Krishna consciousness. Those are the souls that are waking up and like, man, there's got to be something better. It's not in this material world. It's these material, trying to enjoy our material senses. There's got to be something better than this. And generally, it takes people to really go out there and, make a whole lot of money, do a lot of drugs and alcohol, and try to chase that happiness, full blast, and finally get burned out and realize that it's not there. I mean, that's what it took for me. I mean, I had a good life. You know, I had a wife at one time. I made good money, you know. I was at top of my field cooking, you know. But I was always having to find something to get me through the day, from one day to the next. I smoked a lot of weed, smoked cigarettes, drank alcohol. I mean, I had a movie collection, you know, I had hundreds of movies at home. I had video games, had a computer with the internet, cable TV, the wife for sex indulgence. But I was completely miserable. Especially if the power goes out. I was out of weed. I had no cigarettes and no booze. I was in complete hell. I had to put up with my screaming wife. Oh my God. But it took me realizing that when you take all these material things away, you know, that was just like a rubber band. I mean, a Band-Aid over the symptom of this emptiness. And you rip that Band-Aid off. Oh, life was so empty. I came into a very dark time in my life when all this was stripped away. Very dark time. I was battling God. I'm like, why did you do this to me? But God is merciful. He's showing me something better. That's how I got into Christian consciousness. You know, it wasn't overnight. I was reading the books, reading Prabhupada's books, associating. One of my good friends down in Arizona, Christopher Tolles, met him while cooking at a restaurant. But he was a former devotee. He used to live in the temple, you know. And he introduced me, you know, when I showed him that, hey, I found this, you know, because we used to talk a lot about spirituality, and I showed him that, you know, got a Bhagavad Gita at a used bookstore. He goes, oh, I used to be Hare Krishna. I'm like, really? But no, it's through that beginning of the association there that started finding the pathway to Krishna consciousness. And it wasn't, like I said, giving up marijuana and cigarettes and alcohol. It wasn't like a snap decision and like, oh, all of a sudden I'm saved. No, it took time. It took a constant pushing myself, you know, closer and closer to God. The more I got into it, the more I started leaving these things behind. The more I started yearning more for Krishna, the less I was wanting marijuana, cigarettes, and alcohol, and all these things that were stabilizing me in life. And eventually, I was able to give them all up. And now I've found a higher taste. A taste that's lasting. A taste that stays with you. This nectar is so pure and so sweet. It's not going away. It's fulfilling. At the end of the day, I don't need to resort to grabbing something material. I don't need to resort to grabbing a beer. I don't need to resort to grabbing a joint. Don't need to resort to grabbing a cigarette. Because I am content. I am happy with nothing. Just with my beads. I'm happy. My association with my fellow devotees. I'm very happy. Seeing Gornitai every day brings me happiness. Cooking and serving brings me happiness. Washing pots brings me happiness. Cleaning the kitchen brings me happiness. Doing mundane tasks that once were annoying and that were once, oh gosh, I got to clean again. I got to do that. I got to work. I got to do this. I got to do that. It's all gone. It's all full of nectar now. So those who say that because they have a lot of wealth, they have the right philosophy, I really challenge them on that. Because there is so much evidence showing that is not the correct philosophy. Any other questions or comments before I move on here? See here, where was I? Text 6. Nor do we know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them. The sons of Drasta, whom if we killed, we should not care to live, are now standing before us on this battlefield. Report. Arjuna did not know whether he should fight and risk unnecessary violence. Although fighting is the duty of the Kshatriyas, whether he should refrain and live by begging. If he did not conquer the enemy, begging would be his only means of subsistence. Nor was there certainty of victory, because either side might emerge victorious. Even if victory awaited them and their cause was justified, still, if the sons of Drasta died in battle, it would be very difficult to live in their absence. Under the circumstances, that would be another kind of defeat for them. All these considerations by Arjuna definitely prove that he was not only a great devotee of the Lord, but he was also highly enlightened and had a complete control over his mind and senses. His desire to live by begging, although he was born in the royal household, is another sign of detachment. He was truly virtuous. And these qualities combined with his faith and the words of instruction of Sri Krishna, his spiritual master, indicate it is concluded that Arjuna is quite fit for liberation. Unless the senses are controlled, there is no chance of elevation to the platform of knowledge. Without knowledge and devotion, there is no chance of liberation. Arjuna was competent in all these attributes over and above his enormous attributes in this material relationship. Text 7. Now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of weakness. In this condition, I'm asking you to tell me clearly what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. Report. By nature's own way, the complete system of material activities is a source of perplexity for everyone. In every step, there is perplexity, and therefore it behooves one to approach a bona fide spiritual master who can give one proper guidance for executing the purpose of life. All Vedic literatures advise us to approach a bona fide spiritual master to get free from the perplexities of life, which happens without our desire. They are like a forest fire that somehow blazes without being set by anyone. Certainly, the world situation is such that perplexities of life automatically appear without or wanting such confusion. No one wants fire, and yet it takes place and becomes perplexed. The Vedic wisdom, therefore, advises that in order to solve the perplexities of life and understand the science of the solution, one must approach a spiritual master who is in the disciplinic succession. A person with a bona fide spiritual master is supposed to know everything. One should not, therefore, remain in material perplexion, but should approach a spiritual master. This is the purport of this verse. Who is the man of material perplexities? It is he who does not understand the problem of life. In the Garga Upanishad, the perplexed man is described as follows. Yovayitad aksharam gargi Arita Pashmo Lokat Paryatisha Kripana. He is a miserly man who does not solve the problems of life as a human and who quits this world like the cats and dogs without understanding the science of self-realization. This human form of life is most valuable asset for the living entity who can utilize it for solving the problems of life. Therefore, one who does not utilize this opportunity properly is a miser. On the other hand, there is the Brahmana, who is, or he who is intelligent enough to utilize the body to solve the problems of life. The Kripanas, or miserly persons, waste their time in being overly affectionate for family, society, country, etc. In the material conception of life, one is often attached to family life, namely to wife, children, and other members on the basis of skin disease. The Kripana thinks that he is able to protect his family members from death, or the Kripana thinks that his family or society can save him from the verge of death. Such family attachment can be found even in the lower animals who take care of children also. Being intelligent, Arjuna can understand that his affection for family members and his wish to protect them from death were the cause of his perplexities. Although he can understand that his duty to fight was awaiting him, still on the account of misery weakness, he cannot discharge the duties. He is therefore asking Lord Krishna, the supreme spiritual master, to make a definite solution. He offers himself to Krishna as a disciple. He wants to stop friendly talks. Talks between the master and disciple are serious. And now Arjuna wants to talk very seriously before the recognized spiritual master. Krishna is therefore the original spiritual master of the science of the Bhagavad Gita, and Arjuna is the first disciple for understanding the Gita. How Arjuna understands the Bhagavad Gita is stated in the Gita itself. And yet foolish mundane scholars explain that one need not submit to Krishna as a person, but to the unborn within Krishna. There's no difference between Krishna within and without, and one who has no sense of this understanding is the greatest fool in trying to understand the Bhagavad Gita. Any last minute questions or comments before we wrap up class? Yes, Prabhu. Yes.
Oh. The question is happiness that is related to wealth in the mode of ignorance, passion, or goodness?
Happiness is related to wealth. Well, if his happiness is related to wealth in the mode of goodness, ignorance. I'm trying to think of this question here. I'm trying to think of how it's being stated. Because wealth can be accumulated through goodness, passion, or ignorance. But enjoying wealth basically, I would have to say it's just looking at the subject matter, because wealth is material. The one who finds happiness in wealth, well, it's a very temporary happiness. Wealth can be taken away. And as I was stating earlier, those who are wealthy, have to keep themselves occupied with so many different things to try to keep this happiness. It's not that they can just surround themselves in luxury and maintain happiness. So many of them have to occupy themselves with, drugs and alcohol. And those that don't, you find they actually get into extreme things like extreme sports. I mean, poor people don't really get into, cliff diving and bungee jumping. Just saying, it's those extreme sports can be expensive, especially the doctor bills later afterwards. But I would say, you know, most of it would probably be in the passion, mode of passion and ignorance. You know, those who are enjoying happiness and wealth, because it's very temporary. You know, wealth in the mode of goodness, you know, trying to enjoy the mode of goodness. Well, you have the wealth. That means that to enjoy in the mode of goodness, you're giving it away. You're giving it away to the poor. You're giving it away to those who are suffering. That'd be like, you know, enjoying wealth in the mode of goodness. Enjoying wealth in the mode of passion, you're like I say, you're going into extreme sports. Find your happiness. You're going to, you know, climb Mount Everest for whatever crazy reason. So many other people have climbed it. But that's what wealthy people do. They go out and climb a mountain that many other people have climbed. You know, and joy and wealth in the mode of ignorance would be those that, you know, indulge, you know, get into spending the wealth on drugs and alcohol and prostitution and, you know, enjoying their senses that way. I guess that's the best way I can, you know, kind of frame it, you know, and you know, in this the different modes for enjoying wealth. Yeah. Bhagavad Gita ki jai.